can't believe my first ever video is going to be in a car. Hello! Before I start this video, I'm just going to give a few facts about myself and just basically introduce myself. My name is Hems. I'm a 20-year-old college student in Melbourne, Australia. And no, I am not named after the pork ham. It's an Arabic name that means whisper, which unfortunately I am not. Oh hey, it's my one viewer. Thanks for the support. So as most people know, there have been a couple of tragedies that have happened in Japan recently, such as Typhoon Jebi and the earthquake in Hokkaido. It has caused some casualties, which devastates me, and I just wanted to say that I'm praying for Japan and I hope that everyone comes out of it safe. So in light of recent events, I thought that maybe I should talk a bit about Japan, give advice to people who are planning on traveling or who are currently traveling the country, just to show that Japan is an amazing country that I've had the pleasure of living in for 6 months. Here are my 5 tips to surviving in Japan. Number 1. Now my first tip would be about PT. When I first came to Japan, I was like, holy crap, the public transport is insane that I don't think any other country can compare. But when you first get there and you look at the public transport system, it may look absolutely daunting. But fear not, it's not at all. Personally, I use an app named Japan Travel. It just showed all the train lines, where they were going, when they were coming, and when they were leaving, and it saved my life. So I recommend that you guys try it and see if it's your thing. Tip number 2. Manners. Manners are so important in Japan. It's basically what the base of Japan is today. So I thought I should give you guys some tips on etiquette in Japan. Don't stick your chopsticks vertically in food. It's so disrespectful and offensive and only used at funerals. So just don't do it, or else you're gonna offend a lot of people. My other tip is for public transport again. Now, there's usually lines in front of buses and trains where people are lined up. It's just common sense that you would stand in line. That's how they go into the buses and trains. So please do not cut in line and try to go in. Japanese people are super nice. They won't say a thing, but they will give you a few looks. Also, do not talk. Do not talk to friends, do not talk to family, do not talk to acquaintances. Just don't talk. Maybe a word or two, a whisper, that's fine. It's not something that they do. Play a game, read a book, listen to some music, and you'll eventually get used to it and maybe even love it, because personally, I enjoyed it. I loved how quiet the train was. Nobody was loud, nobody was eating, nobody was on their phone screaming. When I came back to Melbourne, I found myself getting irritated in trains and buses and trams because everyone was so freaking loud. But then I remembered I'm in Australia. Anyway, just don't be disrespectful in bus stations or train stations in Japan. People will just look at you and think, gaijin, and we do not want that. If you want to be formal and polite, when you say hello, say goodbye, thank you, or sorry, you could just do a little bow. Japanese people don't expect that from us because we're foreigners, but personally, I really liked doing it. I thought it was just very respectful, and I noticed that people appreciate it, which means that Japanese people are definitely non-touchy-feely people. So no handshakes, don't try to hug, just don't touch them. They're just very kept to themselves, and they don't mind being touched by their close friends, so maybe either ask for permission or bow. Or even just say hello, honestly, it's not really a problem. Tip number 3, the roads are super tight in Japan. At first, I didn't see a problem with it, but then I noticed that because I always walked on side streets to convenience stores, train stations, back to my dorm, I noticed that I was literally walking right next to cars, hand in hand. It was so dangerous. And sometimes I had headphones in with music blaring out loud that I wouldn't notice that there was a car behind me and I could have gotten hurt. So my tip is to just not listen to any music, be careful of your surroundings, and stay safe so you don't get hurt. Tip number 4. If you're afraid that Japanese people would not be welcoming or not help because you're a foreigner, that is not what's gonna happen at all. Japanese people are the most kindest, politest people I've ever met in my entire life. They were so welcoming, they were so comforting, they jump at the chance to help you. They're so orderly, it's insane. I was once at an electronics store and I was trying to buy a hair dryer using my coin pouch, which is filled with like 50-100 yens, 50-200 yens, and it was only my second week, so I could not figure out how to count them. Plus I suck at math. So I was counting them slowly and I kept screwing up. So the cashier woman said, do you need some help? I could count them for you. So I gave it to her, she counted it for me and helped me pay. Clerk woman, if you're watching this video, thank you. God bless you. So don't worry about being shunned or anything like that. Everyone is super nice there. You might find rotten apples amongst apples, but super rare. Number 5, as respect to them and to their culture, it would be best for you to learn a few basic phrases so that you could use them on a day-to-day basis. And I think think this is a worldwide thing where people are really happy and flattered to see a foreigner attempting to learn their language, attempting to speak, regardless of whether they can spell or pronounce something right. It just shows that they're putting in effort and care enough to speak the country's language. So I wrote down some basic phrases for you guys. Just so you know, my Japanese is not superb, and I'm probably gonna pronounce a few of these terribly wrong, so please bear with me. First things first, ohayo gozaimasu, which means good morning, and it's usually used before 10:30 a.m. Then you've got konnichiwa, which means good afternoon, and is used after 10:30 a.m. Konbanwa, which is good evening, and is used in the evening. Oyasumi nasai, which means good night. Arigatou gozaimasu, thank you. Sumimasen, excuse me. Eki wa doku desu ka? Where's the train station? And lastly, nihongo ga wakarimasen. I don't know Japanese. So these phrases are what help me on my day-to-day living basis, and it saved my life. Another phrase that I did not mention but was super important for me was Frankfurt hitotsu kudasai, which means 1 Frankfurt hot dog please. I literally ate that every day. I'm a fat ass. So these are the 5 tips on surviving in Japan. Obviously there is so much more to cover on this topic, but I thought I shouldn't drag this on for too long. And if anybody else wanted a part 2, I would definitely be happy to do it. So comment down below if you're interested in that. Also comment down below if you've traveled to Japan and have some advice for travelers. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.